What's going on, everyone, and welcome back to the channel. Today I've got some more NBA news to bring you guys, some really interesting ones actually revolving around the New York Knicks, with it actually currently being reported that they are yet again interested in DeMar DeRozan, with it currently being reported that Knicks plan to pursue DeMar DeRozan if he opts out of his player option, and this is being reported by Legion Hoops. So again, I think this would be a very, very interesting one by the New York Knicks to potentially do, although I don't necessarily know if I like it that much at all. For those of you who haven't heard, I feel like I speak about this in literally every single New York Knicks video at this point, but there are a lot of rumors going around out there right now that they are highly, interested in LaMelo Ball and Chris Paul to bring to the team. So, for example, what that would look like is on offense, LaMelo Ball would actually be the point guard carrying the ball up the court, and Chris Paul would kind of play the, off-ball type of guard, very similar to like how he played alongside James Harden on the Houston Rockets with. Then while on defense, it would be, Chris Paul guarding point guard and LaMelo Ball guarding shooting guard. If they were to actually do that, I don't think they could get DeMar DeRozan, because you're not going to play RJ Barrett at power forward. That literally makes no sense whatsoever. In my opinion, I think that, if they were to get DeMar DeRozan, let's just say if he doesn't, accept his player option, which again, I'll get into that in a little bit. But let's just say he doesn't, then again, they're only going to get maybe one out of the two, either LaMelo Ball or Chris Paul, that you would most likely think of them actually doing. Now, what I find very, very interesting about this is it doesn't actually specify whether or not they're, still interested in him, whether or not he opts out or not. For example, I do think he most likely will opt out just because he want to get a long-term deal with someone else. I honestly think, he could literally opt in and get himself an extra maybe $4 million or something. I'm pretty sure it's like $28 million or something like that. But in my opinion, I think he might opt out and try and, get a $22 million or so, $20 million deal for the next 4 years with a certain team. I don't think any team's going to offer him near the max, but let's just say he does opt in. I still think the San Antonio Spurs are going to look to trade him, which I think is going to be their preferred thing, is, him opting in so they can trade potentially LaMarcus Aldridge and obviously DeMar DeRozan. And I think, yeah, the Knicks will definitely be a team that might look to, kind of trade for him to see how it would go maybe with RJ Barrett and, Chris Paul or LaMelo Ball. That's just what I think would potentially happen, but again, I don't really like this at all. I think that if there was, if he was to opt in, what the trade could most likely look like would be maybe Julius Randle and a protected first-round pick, or Julius Randle and a couple seconds, because I honestly don't think he is really worth that much, and I think that's a win-win for both teams. Obviously, the Spurs finally, get a young-ish, forward/center to kind of go on their team, while the Knicks, get rid of that Julius Randle contract and the player that I don't think really want on their team. I literally don't really rate Julius Randle at all that much anymore, especially considering he's making $20 million on the New York Knicks. I think that is absolutely insane. For example, if you can get DeMar DeRozan on, maybe $22 million, or if the Cavs can maybe get Andre Drummond on like $20 million, which is rumored to what they could be potentially doing, both those players are so much better than Julius Randle. Like, both those players are literally all-star material, while Julius Randle could literally come off, a lot of teams' bench. So, again, I don't really like, Julius Randle that much at all as a player. I honestly think, though, if he was traded to the Spurs, maybe that would actually be not the worst thing, because, they get to take on his $20 million contract while getting a couple picks in, and, potentially Julius Randle could still be a relatively good player. Obviously, with the right coaching, I definitely think you could change a player, especially with his mindset of continuously dribbling around the court for some odd reason, like he's a point guard, and then, his shooting ability is sometimes very, very not exactly the greatest. So I definitely think maybe the coaching staff at the San Antonio Spurs could actually do something with Julius Randle. So I honestly think that wouldn't be the worst thing out there. And also, this gives the San Antonio Spurs a perfect opportunity to now potentially look to maybe trying to trade for a couple of New York Knicks' rejected players. Let's face it, the San Antonio Spurs, I think, want to rebuild, and I think they're about to go on the rebuild. I think there's a lot of problem with the Spurs. For example, DeMar DeRozan, I don't think, he's obviously wants to be on a contending team. There's no point really having him on there. It's very similar to LaMarcus Aldridge. DeJounte Murray has been very inconsistent throughout the year, and I think honestly plays better as a shooting guard than what he does as a point guard. And then, you know, you got a lot of players like that, because obviously, yeah, DeJounte Murray is so focused on defense and all that type of stuff. I don't think he's really the greatest playmaker out there, so I really don't know. I think that maybe trying Murray at the shooting guard position would actually be a very interesting thing. And this obviously gives, you know, potentially San Antonio a lot of opportunity to now go and trade for players like Dennis Smith, Kevin Knox, etc. Players like them who are young talents that haven't really done anything on the Knicks, that are starving for opportunity, I think could actually get that at San Antonio. So maybe if, you know, maybe the Knicks were saying, well, we want DeMar DeRozan, maybe then, you know, Spurs could actually ask back for a Kevin Knox or a Dennis Smith Jr. alongside Julius Randle. And honestly, I don't think the Knicks would really care. I don't think their fans would really either. But in my opinion, I don't really see too many Knicks fans that are happy about this. Again, I don't really think that it makes a lot of sense at all. I mean, if they can get Chris Paul, a Chris Paul and DeMar DeRozan partnership would be a very, very interesting one. Let's just say maybe they have RJ Barrett at small forward. Maybe they might even want to go out and draft James Wiseman or someone like that and sign a power forward. There's rumors that they might try and get Danilo Gallinari. Honestly, if they could bring in a team of Chris Paul at point guard, DeMar DeRozan at shooting guard, RJ Barrett small forward, Gallinari at power forward, and maybe James Wiseman at center with, you know, Mitch Robinson, etc. coming off the bench, that's definitely a playoff team. You know, especially that could be literally like a 6th seed in the East, maybe even higher. That team I think would definitely compete. You know, again, you got Chris Paul, who's an all-star, DeMar DeRozan, who's a borderline all-star, Danilo Gallinari, who's perceived to be one of the best role players in the league, RJ Barrett, who's a nice young small forward, same with James Wiseman, and they'll have a relatively decent bench that consist of, you know, Reggie Bullock, who is really good with some nice playmaking, you know, Mitch Robinson. That'd be a very, very nice team, but again, I just think it would be really hype to have New York Knicks get LaMelo Ball, and I just think that would be a very, very good move by the New York Knicks to potentially do. But of course, no one really knows what's going to be happening. I honestly think that DeMar DeRozan will actually opt out of his player option. I think, you know, it just makes a lot of sense for him to do that, because yes, he could, you know, sign on the $28 million player option and then maybe put pen to paper on a 4-year deal. And, you know, he might make an extra $6 million or something like that, but there's no guarantees he's going to be getting traded to the team that he wants to get traded to. There's no guarantees on when he's going to be getting traded. I think it would make a lot more sense for him to, you know, opt out of that player contract. Yes, you might have just cost yourself, you know, maybe $6 million, $4 million or something like that. But you can now pick the team that you get to sign to, and you can sign to on a 4-year deal on, you know, potentially good money. So I think that obviously makes the most amount of sense, especially for DeMar DeRozan. And I don't, again, I'm not exactly all in favor of the New York Knicks trading for DeMar DeRozan. I think they're better off just going with LaMelo Ball and Chris Paul. But that's just my honest opinions on it. I definitely would really like to hear your thoughts and opinions on it in the comment section down below. Definitely leave a like and subscribe to the channel if you haven't already, and comment your thoughts and opinions on DeMar DeRozan potentially opting out of his play contract and signing with the Knicks. Or do you guys think they should sign LaMelo Ball or Chris Paul? Again, I definitely would really like to know. Also, don't forget to subscribe to my gaming channel and my IRL/vlogging channels. Links for them will all be in the description down below. And check out my podcast as well if you haven't already. But as I was saying, thank you guys for watching. Make sure to leave a like, subscribe, and comment. And I'll see you guys next time. Goodbye.